Xbox has big plans for Halo Infinite for the PC. We got a good look at the new Ratchet and Clank in the latest PlayStation State of Play. And I share my thoughts on the PS5's tough-as-nails roguelike Returnal. All that and the latest and everything cool today in the Rundown. Hey, welcome to the Rundown. My name is Victor Lucas, and we bring you the latest and everything cool with the show. That's the agenda for the day, and we've got a great episode for you. It's brought to you by the Gaming Stadium. They are Canada's leader in online esports tournament facilitation. They've got tournaments happening every weekend, and you don't want to miss out on the action. You can join up with them at tgs.gg. Today's episode is dedicated to Dwayne, otherwise known as Pathetic Earthling, longtime supporter of EPN, always comes in with some cool positivity and some great comments. And it was his birthday yesterday. Happy birthday, Dwayne. But I also wanted to give a special shout out to my buddy Blair Farrell, who is an accomplished author and really digs into superhero video game stuff. His latest book is The Avengers in Video Games, which you can purchase on various e-tailers out there. I know it's available on Amazon. Thank you for a copy of the book. This is fantastic. I can't wait to dive in. I'm sure I'm going to learn a lot from my side-scrolling superheroes segments that I put together. And speaking of which, Blair also sent me a copy of Rocket Knight Adventures for the Sega Genesis, which I've been coveting for a long time. Thank you, good sir. It's incredibly kind of you. But you know what? Let's get started with your rundown. Today's big news was all about the PlayStation State of Play, and it was really focused on one game in particular, although we did get a little tease of a couple of titles. Subnautica Below Zero is hitting the PlayStation 4 and the PlayStation 5 very soon, in the middle of May, as a matter of fact, and they showed off some new details of this frozen tundra, the new animal life that we're going to see above and below the water, and, you know, this is a series that's been around for a long time in both virtual reality and sort of traditional flat screen television entertainment variants, and they've done a very good job at transporting us to these mysterious underwater environments to explore and to dive into all of these intriguing mysteries. Dive in was no pun intended, by the way. I've been a fan of what I've seen of Subnautica. I know that my buddy Jeff Kanata swears by this game, especially in VR, and I'm looking forward to I almost said diving back in again. I got to stop myself on the puns, but I am looking forward to checking this one out for sure. It looks super cool. We also got a tease of Among Us hitting the PlayStation platforms. I'm surprised. I'm sure it's on there now already, isn't it? Well, it's coming, if it isn't, to PlayStation platforms, and the Ratchet and Clank crossover event is real. You can pick up a little costume, and I guess it's just coming to the consoles this year. I'm surprised that it's not available on this machine, but you can get the skin, and you can look like Ratchet and Clank and sort of Among Us style. But the big news of the show, of course, was that Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart was shown off. They gave us a nice 15-plus minute look at the game in action. We got to see Rivet and her new buddy Clank together. We got to see big, giant monster robots squaring off against these characters, and there was all kinds of incredible animation and beautiful artwork and lots of really cool little details that are also, inclusive of the gameplay and the ambition that we're going to see out of this title. I think what Insomniac really wanted to show off is that the world is massive and it's gorgeous and it goes on forever, and there's lots and lots of great details and variety in the background. When I saw this thing in action, I was like, man, I would just love this to be an open world experience with these flying Fifth Element cars, but you can see them in every direction that Ratchet sort of pivots the camera, or you pivot the camera around Ratchet. You can see all of this incredible neon and sci-fi detail in the background. It's absolutely stunning. And then, they have these sort of flex scenes, I call them, that Insomniac has, where they just show off what they're capable of. And one of the things that was really quite remarkable about this game is that you'll go from story beat and moments of characters talking to each other right back into real-time gameplay, and it's just absolutely extraordinary. I feel like this is a game that's showing off, really what this generation is all about. And of course, one of the things that they wanted to kind of hit with the reveal is that there's lots of different dimensions that you can zip to almost instantaneously, where all of the textures are loaded out and then loaded back in, and it's awe-inspiring. It's just like instantly everything is shifted and changed around you. And they also showed off that there's going to be a lot of other enhancements to the gameplay, where there's going to be open world sequences, there's going to be puzzles that you can solve with Clank. There's lots of little vehicles and little extra kinds of characters that you can take control of. There's flying battle sequences, as we're seeing an example of here. This is kind of awesome, riding a flying dragon. Of course, there's lots of collectibles to pick up. They even emphasize that there's going to be lots of new, armor systems and a new photo mode, which will help you take advantage of the beauty that you see on screen. It had to be a prerequisite in there for sure. And then there's also accessibility options, which are included with the game, and they wanted to highlight that as well. All in all, it's looking like just an extraordinary package. Comes out in June, I think June 11th. And I don't know about you, but I am so freaking stoked. I do want to know if this is the game that pushes you over the edge to want to get a PlayStation 5, if you can find one, which I really hope that doesn't sort of become the eternal caveat around talking about these new machines. If you can find one should be a phrase stricken from our vernacular. We should not have to say that about these new machines at this point. But if you do not have one and want to get one, is this the game that's going to do it? Or if you do have a PlayStation 5, are you picking this one up on day one? Let me know in the comments below. I'm super interested about that. Over in the Halo universe, we got a sense of what's ahead for the game coming to PC. There's a big statement from Matt Booty over at Microsoft talking about Halo becoming something that's cross-play and cross-console, and you're going to be able to, take your save games with you, so you're never, kind of leaving the Halo universe. It doesn't really matter to Microsoft and Xbox how you experience their title. And this is their philosophy. It's games everywhere, whether you play this, over xCloud or you play it on an Xbox platform, and it's still cross-generational. Or you play it on PC, you can just continue on with your progress. So your progress is saved no matter where you go, and basically they want you to have an access point, get sucked into this, this new iteration on this massive universe that they've crafted. This is gameplay from last year, and of course we know that Halo was delayed based on a large part on the reaction to this game. It just felt like it was too soon to be releasing it in holiday 2020, so it's been pushed back. It's going to come out later on this year, and whenever a game gets an extra year of development, especially post-Cyberpunk, that lots of great embellishments are going to be applied to the experience. And honestly, in this post-Cyberpunk world, there is no way in hell that Microsoft and Xbox can make this a disappointment. This has to be an awesome game. It's incredibly important to the company, and it will not only help to, cement the experience and the ideas around Halo for now, but also for forever in the video game industry, even though it doesn't really have anything that it needs to prove at this point. It's a successful franchise. But not only will it help to entrench it, but it will also back up a lot of the decisions that Microsoft and Xbox have been making with regards to purchasing other studios out there. It's going to provide a lot of confidence in Xbox's strategy moving forward. This is an incredibly important game, but you guys all knew that. And I think, the idea that they're putting this play anywhere concept front and center, and quite early on with the title like this, kind of shows what the future means for Xbox as a gaming platform. And of course, there's all those rumors about a Nintendo and Xbox partnership. Are we going to be playing Halo on a new Nintendo Switch? That is a huge question. Well, Microsoft's also taking it to Valve and the other online gaming shops out there. And one of the things that they've announced today is that they're cutting their cut from 30% to 12%. That means developers will be making the lion's share of any revenue that they make off of sales on Microsoft's store. So if you buy games there, you know that you're spending money, and most of that money is going to go to the game developers and the publishers out there. So it's a huge deal, and yeah, there is this kind of growing war that's happening with all of these online gaming stores out there, and Microsoft is in this fight. That's a big, big statement. It's going to be interesting to see the ripples from that, because Steam and Epic have been going back and forth, and of course Epic and Apple have been squabbling about their percentile share of sales based around Fortnite. Fortnite I think is still not available on the iOS shop, but maybe this is the beginning of those percentiles going way down, and maybe that's going to apply to Apple and other eShops out there. Very interesting days. Okay, I think what I want to do now is I want to talk about my experience so far with Returnal. For those that don't know, Returnal is Sony's brand new roguelike that hits the PlayStation 5 tomorrow. I've been playing it for the better part of a week, off and on, and I have been having a phenomenal time with this game. This is an incredibly difficult arcade shooter experience made by Housemarque, which has done lots of arcadey experiences in the past, like Resogun, which was, I think it was a PlayStation 4 launch game. Love that game. And I'm a fan of Housemarque. They also did the Nex Machina twin-stick shooter title with Eugene Jarvis, which is really cool. And this game borrows from a lot of arcade type of experiences. And if you can recall, when you used to go to arcades, remember arcades? You'd take a quarter or more and you'd drop it into the machine and you would die. And then you'd pull another quarter or more out of your pocket and stick it back into the machine, and you try to get a little bit farther. And this kind of reminds me of that, It sticks true to its arcadey roots and principles, and of course it borrows from, modern roguelike masterpieces like Bloodborne and the Souls games. And it reincorporates that with this mysterious, evocative, Metroid Prime-like escapism, which is creepy and sensory overload. It's filled with all kinds of beautifully imagined enemies and lots of great mysteries on the hieroglyphs, these alien or xenoglyphs, I think they call them, on the walls that you're trying to scan and decipher. You get a whole host of really cool weapons in this game that give you all kinds of extra abilities. There's also all kinds of great power-ups that you can apply to your suit, so you can survive a little bit longer, or run a little bit faster, or take a few extra hits, and maybe your life will come back a little bit. But at the end result in this game, or the end effect of this game, is in the title. You're going to be dying and returning and dying and returning, and it's a little hard. It's the game is hard, but it's hard on your psyche as well, because it slaps you down. It doesn't hold back. It's like Demon Souls or Dark Souls, for me especially. I play these games, Sekiro, I check them out all the time, but they're excruciating on my confidence, because I feel like I'm a pretty good gamer, and then I play these games. I've been playing games my whole life. I feel like I've got this down. I'm going to be okay, especially arcadey types of games. I've sunk so much money into playing games like Defender and Robotron, and tough games, tough arcade games. But this is something else. Because what happens is you die, you start right back at the beginning of the game, and you've lost everything except for some marginal upgrades and maybe some of the currency. There's a bunch of different currency types in it. And so that's where I'm at with this game, is that I'm still finding my way into its minutia and trying to figure out my own strategies with it. Just like every other Souls-type roguelike experience, it has been punishing me left, right, and center, and But the thing that's different here is that even though it bruises my ego, and I get close to I've beaten some stuff in this game for sure. I'm not like at square one, and I've gotten past some stuff and just been elated and felt incredibly powerful, and that confidence rises. Like, I got these systems down, and then you enter into an area, and the world is filled with bullets, and it's just all over the screen, and you're trying to navigate through it, and there's also a lot of darkness and a lot of it's procedurally shifted on you. The rooms are the same whenever you walk into the room, so you start to recognize what you're looking at, or you've been to these environments, but they show up in different ways on the map. So you're looking around every corner thinking, this is it, I'm going to get past this thing. But you also have in the back of your mind, or in the back of my mind, I'm going to die. I'm so going to get killed right now, and I'm going to have to start again, and I don't think I can take it. But here is the magic thing with this game. It's so freaking fun to play. I have been taking it. I've taken all the abuse that this game has doled out. I've got a lot more to take, but I love playing it. I think it's my favorite of all of the roguelikes. And I don't know what it is. I mean, I'm a guy that plays a lot of things, and I like to move on to play more things. And maybe that's part of my hesitation around roguelikes and getting completely lost in them, is because I feel like I'm not progressing enough, and I like to feel like I've completed something and I've moved on, and that I only have so much patience for start again. But with this game, because of its arcadey principles, I immediately love it. I love the core experience. So even if I'm beating up and destroying the first level creatures over and over and over again, and I have been, I've been really, really loving it. So the tactile response of the game is amazing. Also, this is the strongest use of the DualSense controller I've experienced so far. I mean, it's more showy in the Astrobot demo experience because they want to show off all of its features. But in terms of gameplay, in terms of the tactility of blasting and holding down the trigger a little bit, so that you can zoom in, or all the way so you can activate the alt fire, is amazing. And also you feel the impact of the weather and the wind, and it's absolutely extraordinary. And the 3D positional audio of the game is amazing. I haven't played it with headphones on. I've heard that is the way to play it, but I've played it with my surround sound completely cranked, and it is completely transportive. It is a staggeringly cool work of art. I really, really adore this game. I feel like, for me, because I haven't got too far in the game, even though I've plunked in many hours on the game, it's kind of hard for me to admit all this, because I know that the standard thing is get good, but I've said this before, these roguelike games just punish me. They're freaking hard, and I keep trying to love these things. This one, for me, I guess what I gotta say is this one for me is the easiest one to love, and I do love it. As good as Bloodborne is, and I can appreciate how beautiful it is, as good as Demon's Souls is, especially on the PlayStation 5, and Sekiro, and even Hades. There's awesome games out there in this world, and I totally appreciate them. This speaks to me, And the other thing that I thought of while I was playing Returnal is that it's reminiscent of how I have approached Super Metroid over the years. In a way, that is like a roguelike for me, because I've restarted that game a million times over the years. On every Nintendo platform that has been able to play Super Metroid, I have downloaded the game and restarted. I even have a couple of the SNES classics, and I've played it on both of them, and it's on those, you know what I'm saying? And so there's a direct correlation. This is so Metroidy, this experience as well, right? So it's an arcadey Metroid roguelike. It's just so freaking cool. And it's an amazing accomplishment by Housemarque. So I recommend the game. But the caveat is be prepared to have your ego bruised unless you're getting good, however you pronounce that. But yeah, it's a work of art, and I love it, and I'll probably be playing it for many, many years, and I probably have more to talk about. But the cool thing is that I'm going to be streaming a little bit more of it right after this show, as a matter of fact, for all of you that are watching this rundown live. All right, let's move on. We found out today that Marvel's The Falcon and the Winter Soldier is getting a making of series that's coming to the Disney Plus service very soon to kind of show us how the show was assembled. And there are lots of great locations and lots of great new introductions to the characters. And one of the things that we have recognized about the show since it has aired is that Marvel is going forward with a Captain America 4, and Sam Wilson is going to be front and center, which is really cool. So I can't wait to watch this. I love the show. It wasn't perfect, but I thought it was a tremendous amount of fun, so I can't wait to watch Assembled, the making of The Falcon and the Winter Soldier. We also found out today, a lot of PlayStation stuff in the show today, but we found out what's coming to the PlayStation Plus service for the month of May, and the big one, I think, is that Wreckfest, which is another Demolition Derby game, which is interesting, in like 3 months, because they had Destruction All-Stars not too long ago, is coming to PS Plus, but this is the PS5 version of the game, and it's only for PS5 players out there, which is interesting, but incredibly detailed, beautiful art. Obviously, it's getting some pretty impressive visual upgrades for the PlayStation 5. We're also going to be getting Battlefield 5. This was the PS4 version of the game. Still looks extraordinary. I feel like most of the people that wanted to play this game probably have played this game. This is not a slouch in the sales department, but it's pretty cool that if you've got a PS4 or a PS5, and if you've never checked out Battlefield 5, it had a pretty damn cool campaign, by the way. You'd be able to jump into this one. And then the other one, which I honestly had never heard about. I hadn't checked this one. It's one of these survival games. It's called Stranded Deep, and it's all about living on a deserted island and doing what you can to kind of survive and thrive. You got to go hunting and building your hut and trying to not get killed during the nighttime. You can do some swimming. And build rafts. It looks like it could be pretty cool. And the other bit of news is that Netflix has shown off a new series called Sweet Tooth, and Jeff Lemire is it's based on a DC comic book, written, I think, and the art is also by Jeff Lemire, and Robert Downey Jr.'s production company is the group behind it, and it looks pretty cool. It's like a fantasy-infused idea with a little kid that grows up to be a bigger kid that has antlers on his head, and it's kind of like a fantasy idea, fantasy type concept in reality. It's about a mutation. It looks trippy. It looks very well produced, and it's interesting that obviously what's happening is that superhero movies and superhero television shows are so popular that a lot of these studios are thinking outside the box and trying to find other comics properties out there to adapt. And Sweet Tooth looks like it's going to be pretty slick. It comes out in the summer. All right, you guys, that's going to do it for the rundown today. Thank you so much for watching. I'll be back again tomorrow with a fresh episode for you. Thank you to all of our EPN subscribers and, of course, all of our EPN members. We'll see you tomorrow, and until then, play forever.